Life in a medieval castle. The first light of morning creeps gently over the rolling hills, painting the sky in delicate shades of pale gold and silver blue. Beyond the mist-covered fields, the castle rises in quiet majesty, a silhouette of stone towers and battlements against the soft horizon. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and wood smoke from the dying embers of the night's fires. Within the castle walls, the world stirs slowly. A faint breeze drifts through the arrow slits, brushing against the thick stone corridors. Somewhere high in the eastern tower, a guard shifts his stance, his armor giving the faintest creak in the stillness. His breath clouds in the cool air as he peers across the awakening landscape. In the courtyard below, the first sounds of morning are gentle and unhurried. A stable boy, his cloak wrapped tightly against the chill, leads a drowsy gray mare from her stall. The horse's hooves make a hollow, muffled sound on the cobblestones, echoing softly between the walls. A sleepy hen flutters down from her roost, scratching the earth for the first meal of the day. Somewhere nearby, a door creaks open, and the smell of freshly lit kindling drifts from the kitchens. The castle itself seems to wake like a great stone giant, slowly, deliberately, as if it remembers each dawn it has seen before. In the narrow corridors, tapestries hang heavy and still, their woven scenes dimly lit by the rising sun. A flicker of light catches on polished goblets in the great hall, where the long tables sit empty but ready for the day ahead. Up in the Lord's solar, a faint rustle can be heard, the soft movement of linen as servants quietly prepare the room for their master's waking. A basin of cool water is placed by the window, its surface trembling with each step the servant takes. The faint fragrance of rosemary drifts in from the herb garden below, carried by the morning breeze. In the chapel, a single candle burns before the altar. The chaplain kneels in silence, his whispered prayers blending with the faint birdsong drifting through the high, narrow windows. The steady rhythm of his breath fills the air, as if the stone walls themselves are listening. The sun climbs higher, its light now spilling into the courtyard and painting the flagstones with gold. Armor glints faintly in the armory, where a squire quietly polishes a sword. The steel sings in a low, ringing note as the cloth passes over it, slow and careful, as though he fears to wake the still dreaming castle. The day has begun, but here, in these first moments of dawn, the castle holds on to its silence. It is a rare, fragile thing, a pause before the rhythm of life resumes. Soon, there will be voices, laughter, and the clang of work. But for now, the medieval castle belongs to the quiet, and to those who rise early enough to witness it. Let's talk about morning duties and daily life. The first golden light of the morning seeps deeper into the castle, painting the stone walls with a soft, amber glow. The courtyard is now alive with quiet movement, a gentle hum of activity that is neither hurried nor loud, but steady, as if the entire place follows a rhythm set by centuries of routine. In the castle kitchens, the air is already heavy with warmth. A long wooden table is covered with bowls of coarse flour, hunks of butter, and freshly gathered eggs. The kitchen maid, her sleeves rolled to the elbow, kneads bread dough with slow, deliberate movements, each push of her hands sinking into the soft mixture before folding it over again. The crackle of the great hearth's fire is constant, and above it hangs an iron cauldron, steam lazily drifting upward as a thin vegetable broth simmers for the servants' breakfast. From somewhere deeper in the kitchen, a boy emerges carrying a wicker basket filled with round wheels of cheese wrapped in cloth. He sets them on the table, and the cook, a broad woman with a linen cap snug over her hair, inspects each one before nodding in approval. She hums a tune, low and steady, her voice almost lost beneath the gentle clang of ladles and the scraping of wooden spoons against pots. Outside, the training yard is filling with the sounds of steel meeting steel. Young squires, dressed in simple tunics with leather padding, are sparring with wooden swords under the watchful gaze of the castle's master-at-arms. He walks among them with a calm but firm presence, correcting their stances, adjusting the way they grip their weapons, offering encouragement in short, quiet phrases. The thud of boots on packed dirt marks each drill, blending with the occasional clank from the armory where a blacksmith is hammering out a dented helmet. Beyond the walls, farmers are arriving through the gate, their carts piled with fresh vegetables, sacks of grain, and bundles of herbs. A porter greets them, checking each cart, his chalk marking the goods before they are rolled toward the storage rooms. Chickens cluck and flutter near the carts, pecking at stray kernels of grain that spill onto the ground. Up in the castle's private quarters, maids are moving from chamber to chamber, shaking out woolen blankets and sweeping rushes from the floors. The scent of rosemary and lavender rises from the fresh reeds they lay down, keeping the rooms fragrant and clean. A lady-in-waiting quietly polishes a silver goblet, her reflection rippling faintly across its curved surface. The entire castle is now fully awake, but nothing about it feels rushed. The pace is deliberate, grounded in the knowledge that each duty, however small, keeps the castle's heart beating. From the lowest stable boy to the lord himself, every person plays a role in the smooth unfolding of the day. Now let's talk about midday in the Great Hall. By the time the castle's bells toll for midday, the air is filled with the smell of roasting meat and fresh bread. The Great Hall, the largest and most impressive room within the castle walls, is already buzzing with preparation. Sunlight pours in through narrow stained glass windows, scattering patches of red, gold, and green across the long oak tables. The high, vaulted ceiling catches every sound, the scrape of benches, the clink of pewter cups, the laughter of servants moving quickly about their tasks. At the far end of the hall, the lord's high table is being set with polished silver plates and goblets that gleam in the light. A richly woven tapestry of knights in battle hangs behind his chair, a constant reminder of his lineage and the battles fought to secure these walls. Down below, servants carry in great platters, whole roasted pheasants glazed with honey, steaming trenchers piled with beef, baskets of thick bread loaves still warm from the ovens. The scent of rosemary, sage, and garlic drifts upward from the dishes, mingling with the smoky tang of the hearth fire. A minstrel tunes his lute in the corner, plucking each string with care. Soon his music will rise above the murmurs, weaving a soft melody that carries over the long tables. At another end, a storyteller readies himself, rehearsing under his breath a tale of dragons and distant lands to entertain the guests between courses. The lord enters last, dressed in a deep crimson tunic trimmed with fur. The entire hall rises in respect, the scrape of benches loud against the stone floor. He gestures for all to be seated, and the meal begins, not in a rush, but in a steady rhythm. Servants move from table to table, refilling cups with ale or spiced wine, replacing emptied platters with fresh ones. Here, food is more than sustenance, it is a display of power, wealth, and hospitality. The feast serves as a reminder to all present that the castle is not just a fortress of stone and steel, but also a center of culture, tradition, and community. When the first course ends, laughter grows louder, the minstrel's song grows bolder, and the hall feels less like a place of strict order and more like the beating heart of medieval life itself. Now let's talk about evening in the castle. As the sun dips below the horizon, the mood within the castle begins to shift. The glow of daylight fades from the high windows of the great hall, replaced by the flicker of torchlight and the soft golden halo of candles. The air is cooler now, and the steady hum of the day gives way to a quieter, more watchful atmosphere. The great hall is still alive with voices, though many of the guests have taken their leave. Those who remain linger over spiced wine or ale, speaking in hushed tones. The minstrel has set aside his lute, and the storyteller's final words still hang in the air like smoke. The servants move more slowly now, gathering plates, sweeping crumbs from the long tables, and dousing the smaller torches along the walls. Beyond the hall, the castle's courtyard grows still. Only the occasional clatter of boots on the cobblestones breaks the silence, a guard changing post, or a messenger delivering late news. The stables are quiet save for the shifting of hooves and the soft snorts of resting horses. In the kitchens, the great ovens glow with the last embers of the day's fire, their heat slowly ebbing away. In the Lord's private chambers, a different rhythm unfolds. The heavy curtains are drawn, and a brazier glows in the corner, filling the room with the scent of burning cedar. The Lord discusses matters of trade and defense with his closest advisors, their voices low but firm. Outside, a scribe sits with quill and parchment, ready to record agreements or issue letters before the night is over. Meanwhile, in the servants' quarters, weary hands wash the last of the goblets, while others mend garments by lamplight. A few share quiet laughter, trading stories of the day before sleep calls them. Up on the ramparts, guards walk their rounds, eyes scanning the darkened fields beyond the moat. The wind carries the distant howl of a wolf, and the torches lining the walls sputter in the night air. This is when the castle feels most like a fortress, a place of vigilance and defense, where safety depends on the alertness of a few pairs of eyes in the shadows. The castle does not sleep entirely. Even in darkness, it breathes, in the quiet conversations by the fire, the creak of wooden beams, and the muted clang of a sword being sharpened in the armory. Tomorrow, life will begin again with the first strike of the morning bell. But for now, the medieval castle rests, strong, silent, and timeless beneath the star-filled sky. Now turn to talk about the castle in times of danger. The castle's rhythm shatters with a single sound, the deep toll of the warning bell. Its echo bounces off the stone walls, rolling through the courtyard and into every chamber. Within moments, the stillness of the night is gone, replaced by urgent shouts and the pounding of hurried footsteps. Up on the ramparts, a sentry points toward the horizon. In the distance, a faint orange glow flickers, torches moving in the darkness, too many to be friendly. The drawbridge is raised at once, and the heavy iron portcullis crashes down with a metallic clang. The castle's gates are now sealed tight. Inside, the great hall transforms from a place of feasting to a war room. The Lord and his commanders gather around a table strewn with maps, tokens marking troop positions. Messengers dash in and out, relaying orders. Armor is pulled from racks and strapped on. Swords, spears, and crossbows are distributed to every able-bodied soldier. The castle's residents react in different ways. Servants herd children and the elderly toward the inner keep, the safest part of the fortress, while others carry food, water, and blankets to the storerooms, preparing for a possible siege. The chapel fills with quiet prayers, candlelight flickering over anxious faces. The air is tense. From the walls, defenders watch the enemy approach, their numbers clearer now in the moonlight. Archers notch arrows, their hands steady despite the pounding of their hearts. Cauldrons are filled with boiling water and heated oil, ready to be poured on attackers should they breach the walls. Stones and logs are prepared for dropping from the battlements. Then, silence. The enemy halts just beyond bow range, their banners swaying in the night wind. Both sides watch each other, waiting for the first move. Inside the castle, time seems to stretch, every sound, the creak of leather, the shuffle of boots, feels louder. The Lord stands at the highest tower, gazing over the battlements. He knows that the castle was built for this moment, thick stone walls, deep moats, and high towers ready to defy the enemy. But he also knows that a siege can test not just the strength of the fortress, but the spirit of all who dwell within it. In that tense stillness, the medieval castle stands like a giant in the night, steadfast, unyielding, and ready to endure whatever comes with the dawn. Life during a siege. Days turn into weeks, and the castle's isolation becomes complete. The enemy encircles the fortress like a tightening noose, their tents dotting the hills beyond the walls. Every supply route is cut off. No merchant, messenger, or ally can break through without risking death. Inside, life changes drastically. The bustling energy of the castle slows to a careful, measured pace. Food is rationed, loaves of bread sliced thinner, stews watered down to stretch for more mouths. Salted meat, once a winter staple, now becomes a rare treasure. Fresh fruit and vegetables are long gone. Even the Lord eats sparingly, setting an example for his people. Water, too, is precious. If the castle has its own well, it becomes the heart of survival. Every drop is guarded, and waste is forbidden. Buckets are lowered slowly, almost reverently, into the dark depths, while guards stand watch to ensure no sabotage occurs. The air inside grows heavy. Smoke from the hearths clings to the rafters, mixing with the scent of unwashed clothes and bodies, reminder that bathing is a luxury no one can afford. The laughter of feasts and music of minstrels is gone, replaced by the dull thud of hammers as weapons are repaired and arrows fletched. Children whisper about the enemy beyond the walls, while the older ones help carry water or tend to the wounded. The chapel is never empty, candles burn day and night as people pray for relief. In the great hall, the Lord holds meetings with his captains, weighing desperate choices, attempt a breakout, hold until reinforcements come, or negotiate. Every night, watchmen patrol the walls, scanning for signs of an assault. Sometimes, the enemy tries to test the defenses, a sudden rush toward the gates, a rain of arrows, but the castle holds firm. Yet, each attack chips away at morale. As the siege drags on, hope becomes as important as food. Stories of past victories are retold around the fires, and small acts of kindness, sharing a crust of bread, mending a soldier's torn tunic, keep the spirit of the defenders alive. The medieval castle, once a symbol of wealth and power, now stands as a testament to endurance. Every stone, every iron gate, and every soul within it is locked in the same silent vow: we will hold out as long as we can. Now let's talk about victory or defeat. The siege has dragged on for what feels like an eternity. The once proud banners atop the towers are now tattered and faded, flapping weakly in the wind. Inside, the people are gaunt, their clothes hanging loose, their eyes sunken with exhaustion. Even the walls seem to groan under the strain, pitted and blackened from enemy fire. Then, a change. One morning, the watchmen on the highest tower cry out. Far off, a glint of sunlight catches on something: armor. A distant plume of dust rises on the horizon. Is it reinforcements, or another enemy force? Hearts race as the Lord and his captains rush to the battlements, squinting into the distance. If it is help, the defenders must hold just a little longer. The enemy senses the same thing and intensifies their assault. Stones from trebuchets crash against the walls, arrows hiss through the air, and the ground shakes beneath the pounding of siege rams. The defenders fight with the last of their strength, every blow fueled by desperation. Finally, with a thunderous cheer, the relief force charges into the enemy camp, catching them between two armies. Panic ripples through the besiegers, and they scatter, their once formidable lines crumbling into chaos. The gates of the castle swing open for the first time in weeks, and the defenders surge forward to join the fight. Victory tastes like freedom, and yet it is bittersweet. The cost has been heavy: friends lost, stores emptied, and walls shattered. As the enemy flees, the castle's people collapse where they stand, some laughing, some weeping, all too weary to celebrate for long. But sometimes, the story ends differently. If no rescue comes, the Lord may be forced to parley. Terms are set, perhaps the castle is surrendered in exchange for the lives of its people. The gates open not in triumph, but in quiet defeat, the defenders walking out under the watchful eyes of their conquerors, leaving behind the home they fought so hard to protect. Whether in victory or loss, the siege leaves its mark forever. The castle stands, scarred, but still a monument to the courage and endurance of those who called it home. And in the Great Hall, stories of the siege will be told for generations, a reminder that even in the darkest days, the spirit of the people within these walls refused to break. Now we discuss life after the siege. When the last enemy soldier disappears over the hills and the gates close again, not in fear, but in safety, a strange stillness settles over the castle. For the first time in months, the air is free of the stench of smoke and fear. The silence is almost unsettling. The rebuilding begins immediately. Masons climb the battered walls, replacing crumbled stones with fresh blocks. Blacksmiths fire up their forges to repair bent armor and shattered weapons. Carpenters mend broken gates and reinforce towers. Everywhere, the clink of hammers and the scrape of chisels echo across the courtyard. Food, however, remains scarce. The siege has emptied the storehouses, and what little grain is left must be carefully rationed. Farmers from nearby villages, those who survived, return with seeds and tools, planting in every patch of earth they can find. Hunting parties ride out into the forests, and fishing nets are cast in the rivers once more. Slowly, the kitchens begin to fill with the smell of fresh bread, stews, and roasted meat. Daily life resumes in halting steps. Children, who spent the siege huddled in the cold darkness of the Great Hall, now run laughing through the courtyards. Women carry baskets of laundry to the castle well, gossiping as they work. The chapel bells ring again, calling the faithful to prayer, not for survival this time, but for thanks. Still, scars remain. The walls bear burn marks from enemy fire. Some towers lean at precarious angles, as if still weary from the strain. And in the hearts of the people, memories of fear and hunger linger. The names of those lost are spoken in hushed tones, and at night, the older folk sit by the fire, retelling stories of the siege, the heroics, the tragedies, and the miracles. With each passing season, the castle regains its strength. Markets bustle once again, knights train in the yard, and feasts return to the Great Hall. But the people are forever changed. They are harder, wiser, and more united than before, bound by the shared memory of the days when the castle walls became both their prison and their shield. Life goes on, and the fortress, scarred yet unbroken, stands as a testament to their resilience. If you like this story, please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon for new update. Thanks.